Good morning to everybody, and my warmest welcome to Kenny Ewan, the person who works to benefit farmers in the underdeveloped countries. Kenny has today a big flu, so I will help him with a brief story, like a beginning of this interview. Once upon a time, there was Ururu, this young Swahili farmer who had a farm in Africa, in North Uganda. Ururu has ill parents, has young child, too young to help in work. This farm in Africa is the way of subsistence for this family. But Ururu has to wake up every day at 3 a.m. in order to walk 5 kilometers to get water to work in the farm. Once a month, he has to walk 20 kilometers to a local market where he can buy seeds and tools in order to work in the farm. Sometimes the tools are disrepaired. Sometimes seeds are expensive and they don't work properly. As a consequence, subsistence was complicated. Many times his family go to bed hungry. And then Kenny arrived to Uganda, and in Swahili language, he said, Hakuna Matata. Now, Kenny, it's your turn. Where do you come from? I know you were born in Scotland. And why did you decide to start this project, We Farm?
Sure, it's a great story.
Thank you.
Buenas tardes con todos. Muchas gracias por...
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here. And it's an honor for me to be in Málaga with you. My Spanish is not as good as Joanna. I also like challenges, but these challenges is a little bit too hot for me. So I don't think I would be able to do the whole interview in Spanish. So if you allow me, I will switch to English.
I think the background to We Farm is that there's almost 1 billion people, 1 billion in the world that are small-scale farmers or work directly with small-scale farming, mostly in Africa or Southeast Asia. It's the biggest industry on Earth. It's 80% of the entire global supply chain. It's 4 of the 5 most traded commodities on Earth, and nobody has built anything for these farmers. And really, at heart, We Farm is a system to enable those farmers to share information, questions, answers, markets, whatever they need with each other. I think I worked for 7 years in Latin America in international development and saw that there was a lot of projects that had good intention, but ultimately were very paternalistic. They were very top-down. Ultimately, a lot of wealthy Westerners telling poor people what to do. And I wanted to do something much more community-driven, where the community could help each other. For example, we would see farmers, a coffee farmer who was suffering from a disease because of climate change. And maybe this disease used to be 100 kilometers away or 500 kilometers away. And as the climate changes, the disease comes to these farms. And that farmer, most of all, they wanted to speak to the other farmer 500 kilometers away who'd been suffering and dealing with this disease for 10 years or their whole life. And they wanted to exchange experiences and ideas peer-to-peer. And that's what We Farm does. And I should also add that mostly we do this where farmers don't have access to the internet. So we do it all using AI, machine learning, and SMS.
Kenny, you are a very special entrepreneur. Yesterday I asked you how it's possible in a young entrepreneur looking for funding to create something like WeFarm. You told me that you have been cooperating person in Peru for 7 years. Which value, which things did you learn in those 7 years in Peru?
I think in 7 years in Peru, the most important thing I learned was that local people, poor people, whatever you want to call them, they're smart too, right? Even smarter. You know, I was working in projects in rural communities all the time that were driven by local people. They were solving their own challenges, but I also learned that nobody from the big NGOs, from the big government funding, nobody was giving a platform to those ideas. And really that, of a whole load of things I learned in 7 years, that was the most important. And I think that's what drives WeFarm.
Why didn't you keep in Peru or in Latam and you moved to Africa?
Well, 7 years is a long time.
Understand. You are in 3 countries at this time.
With WeFarm? Yeah, so we have a team of 52 people now. About half are in London. And then we have 3 offices in Tanzania, in Kenya, and Uganda. So those are our 3 countries which we operate. And now we have 1.9 million farmers that use our system. We share about 40 or 50,000 questions and answers a day, so more than 1 million a month. And yeah, over the next few years, we're excited to go into many more countries.
Many more countries. These 3 countries you have achieved in less than 2 years, 3 years?
4 years.
Near 4 years.
Yeah.
And how many countries do you want to be in 10 years?
All of them.
All of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to say that, WeFarm has a social mission. We're driven by, by the mission we have at the heart of the company, but we're a limited company. We're a normal business. So I think, we've taken venture capital to fund this mission, and in the venture capital model, it's big or nothing. So our ambition is definitely to be the world's biggest platform for small-scale farmers. As I said, there's 1 billion, and we would like to be the platform for all of them.
Okay. Going to the detail, I understood you that the main tool farmers need to work with WeFarm is approx.
Yeah, so a cell phone, a mobile phone, but even an old mobile phone, and they don't need to have any access to the internet or smartphone. So they can send us a question via SMS, text message. So, I don't know, maybe their cow isn't giving any milk today, or they have a disease on their coffee farm, or they want to ask us about fertilization of passion fruit, or anything. They send us a text message with their question in any language, just about. When we receive the question, we use machine learning, some AI models to understand what that farmer is saying to us.
Okay, so they receive advices from you, but they also can buy seeds, buy tools, buy anything to you. How do they buy these things?
Yeah, so, I mean, just important to say that everything from WeFarm is not us telling farmers what to do, it's connecting people.
Okay.
So when we use machine learning to understand the question, we use that analysis to pick out 5 or 10 people in the entire network that we think can answer that one specific question. So we're taking one farmer in 1 million that has a question and trying to use machine learning to connect them to one farmer in 1 million that has the right answer. And that's how WeFarm works. But yeah, as part of our business model, we're building a marketplace on top of WeFarm, where farmers can access fertilizers, seeds, anything they want to buy, but with guaranteed quality and guaranteed low price. And then part of the next stage for WeFarm is also to help those farmers to sell.
Do you have any measure of how it's improving his quality of life?
Yeah, so I think there's two levels to this question. One is the individual farmer who uses us. And I can give an example. We had a farmer in Kenya he was a chicken farmer. And he had a small chicken farm. I think it had 50 chickens in total on the farm. And in the space of 2 days, a disease had killed half his chickens, literally 25 chickens. And he asked WeFarm for advice. He was speaking to another farmer. He got some advice on medicine, and he managed to save the other 25 chickens. It might not seem like much sitting here, but those 25 chickens were his entire livelihoods. They paid for his kids to go to school. They paid to put dinner on the family table. And so that kind of advice that's simple but urgent, I think, is what WeFarm specializes in. And I think we make a big difference in those type of situations. And then at the bigger level, at the macro level, we use machine learning to try and understand what difference a farmer using WeFarm can experience on the farm versus a normal farmer or a farmer who's not using WeFarm. And the evidence we're collecting on the data suggests that the average farmer on WeFarm is harvesting about 2x, about 2 times what a farmer not using WeFarm is harvesting.
Okay, at this time, farmers get from WeFarm advices and they can buy anything. But in the future, they can also sell their products. How is this next step in the future to sell?
So, yeah, I mean, this is part of the vision for what we want to do with WeFarm. That, I'm sure everybody knows that a coffee farmer, for every $1 of coffee sold in the US or Europe, the farmer is probably receiving 1 or 2 cents. In reality, the Starbucks or Costa Coffee is probably only receiving 3 or 4 cents too, and all of the value is in the middle. Traders, middlemen, sellers that are making all the money. As millions of farmers start to use WeFarm, we see the opportunity for just taking out the middle and connecting farmers directly to the markets they want to sell into, so that we can bring much more value, whether locally or internationally. Our thesis at WeFarm is if we can have 100 million farmers using one system, we can empower those farmers to do anything. It's essentially a massive scale digital cooperative.
As I told you yesterday, Kenny, for me it's very interesting see how your company is in a mission, in a working that usually are non-profit organizations who made it in the past. Maybe a social entrepreneur like yours be more efficient to achieve these goals?
No, I think so, but I don't think there's a right answer and a wrong answer. But yeah, I spent 7 years working in international development for non-profit, and I saw a lot of good intention, a lot of good people, but really not so much impact. And my own personal journey was to be disillusioned, I would say, with the non-profit world. So when I set up WeFarm, I always wanted it to be a business, to have a business model, to be sustainable. Social mission is very important to me and to the company, but for me personally, I think if you don't have a business model, it's very hard to do anything at big scale without a business model. At local scale maybe, but at big scale, internationally, globally, I don't think so.
That's another question, because non-profit organizations sometimes are difficult to get funding, but you have a lot of success getting funding. Can you reveal what you did last week, your last funding round?
I can reveal as long as no one puts it on Twitter, because we're announcing in a couple of weeks' time.
Okay.
So please don't tweet this. So we just raised a venture capital funding round of about $13 million. So we've raised in total $20 million, which is really exciting for us. It's going to let us take the next step. But yeah, it's hard. I've walked into venture capital companies in Silicon Valley and saying, oh, we use SMS for farmers in Africa, and an NGO owns 15% of the shares in our company. And I get a lot of funny looks. Most people in Silicon Valley, they want to fund scooters, electric scooters, or juice machines. So we're doing something very different, and that makes it very hard to raise money. But poco a poco, we're getting there.
Okay. Anyway, not everybody in Silicon Valley or in US loves of your project. I think you were with Bill Gates some time ago talking about your project. Maybe in the future you will meet with Al Gore, maybe?
Yeah, this has been a crazy journey. Being an entrepreneur has been, there's a lot of highs, a lot of lows, sometimes in the same day, sometimes in the same hour. I'm just a kid from the west coast of Scotland. I never expected to be doing this, but yeah, some crazy experiences. I had lunch with Bill Gates, curry, which was good. I did a panel in Davos at the World Economic Forum with just me and will.i.am, which was surreal. I've got invited to Al Gore. Al Gore invited me to visit his farm in Tennessee, which I'm doing in a couple of weeks' time. So there's these incredible, weird, surreal things, but then every day running a business, being an entrepreneur, you get brought down to earth very quickly.
Really, it's inspiring and exciting for us to check that social entrepreneurship can be successfully funded and grew so fast like your project. We have only a few minutes left, so I will take the word to the public. There is a hand in the fifth. Please.
Hi. I was hearing about your project and it's already amazing, but I just couldn't help thinking about if your aim is going globally and your aim is reaching to 1,000,000 farmers that will use your application even only once. I'm just thinking about the amazing data set that you can get and how it can give such powerful insight about trends and patterns, and maybe for climate change, but for other uses. I don't know, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we talked already about 2 levels of social impact. I think that's the 3rd level. Personally, I've always thought that the data will be where we cause or create genuine global impact. So we do some of that already, where we, across 1 million questions and answers that are crowdsourced, we try to look for patterns in disease, droughts, where potentially we can, potentially, still early days, but potentially we can help farmers who are not even using our system. Working with NGOs, local governments, the data set is incredible. I think we're only just touching the surface of what can be done with it. I'm definitely open to partnerships on exploring it.
More questions? There is one. En español. Kenny speak Spanish.
Famous last words.
Hi, Kenny. I was wondering, because through the Sustainable Development Goals, one of the issues that's been highlighted is that small farmers' communities are the future of nurturing the world, of feeding the world. And your company almost fulfills all of the SDGs. What does the UN say about it? I think it's important that not only to present sustainable development projects and present them to society, I think it also takes funding, and you deserve funding. Do you understand that?
I didn't catch the bit about financials.
She wants to know if the United Nations are supporting you.
Okay. Vale.
Or will them?
I think a little. I think what we do has been challenging, I think, for NGOs and governments. You know, they are so used to the top-down model of, you know, we will just do what is best for poor people, that I think when we came along with this model of, we're going to do peer-to-peer, I think a lot of people were freaked out, frankly. They were scared of, oh, you cannot have two farmers talking to each other. It's going to be a disaster. And I think it's only now, like 4 years into the journey, that people are starting to see, actually, this is quite powerful if we do it well. The data set, the support for communities. You know, we have 2 million farmers using the system. So I think that's coming to a lot of people's attention. I think, you know, we've done some work with local governments in Africa, but nothing yet with either United Nations or national governments. I think also as a small organization, we've been quite careful about getting too attached to these massive organizations, but I think over the next few years, it's something we want to do a lot more of.
One more question. Last one. Peter Hodgson. Last one.
What are your, if you do have any, worries about the future, risk management? As your company is now working with a venture capital model, it's all about growth. It's all about having more people on the system. You don't actually have to turn a profit. That you will have to do the day you go public or whatever. Do you think that will affect your ideals and operations?
It's a good question. It's one we get asked a lot. My personal experience so far is that actually the venture capitalists are way more in line with our mission than a lot of the social funders. I find the impact investors, not everyone, but a lot, and the grant funders are very conservative. You know, everything's about limits and restrictions, and we can only spend money on this, and if you overspend by $10, you need to write a report, and it's, you know, that's kind of the scene. We found the venture capital mentality is just, we love the mission, go build it. You know, let us know how we can help. Here's, you know, $10 million, go spend it as you see fit, within reason. And it's not to say that there might not be challenges in the future. As you say, it's a very growth-demanding model. You know, there's all sorts of things that can come along. But for me, so far, it's actually been more in line, surprisingly, than other funding I've had in the past. I think what's important is that the business model and the social mission don't contradict each other. And I think so far, I hope that we've built a model where, as it grows, more impact occurs. And I think if we can get that right, that machine, that's where, you know, we can have most impact.
Okay, now the last question.
Bueno, pues gracias por todo esto que nos...
Thank you. Thanks for your presentation, for everything you're saying. But I can't think of some quite challenging questions, because agriculture and farming and data is actually some of the most important feeds for the intelligence systems we are creating. So is there any criteria to accept companies and investors and etc.? Is there any common good balance analysis or something like that, so we can figure out who's involved? Because it sounds like privatization to me and manipulation to me. It sounds like it could be companies grabbing people's lands and many other things we already know. So are you considering this?
Get involved?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, for farmers, for users, not so much. We let anybody join the system. They can use it as they see fit, and we use machine learning and the crowd to be the police. That we filter bad content. We have machine learning algorithms to see who is knowledgeable about which subject, which is learning all the time. For businesses and partners that we work with, you know, absolutely. You know, we take that very seriously. We've had several offers from big agricultural companies that want to work with us where we've said, no, this is not what we're building. More than anything, more than any other single thing, what we build at WeFarm is trust with the community, with the farmer. If we want to be the global winner in agriculture, that only happens if the farmer trusts us. So maybe there's ways that we could sell that trust for, $1 million in the short term, but there's no point to that. So, we take that very seriously, and, ultimately, if you look at where things like Facebook and others are ultimately going wrong, is they sold trust for advertising dollars, and that's not what we want to do.
And I will keep trusting in you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Congratulations for your project. Warm greetings for the farmers, people watching us in streaming from Uganda, from Kenya, from Tanzania, and thank to everybody.
Muchas gracias.
Congratulations.
Thank you.